When traveling by plane, there is an essential place that we will have to know when traveling: the airports. Airports are a very extensive subject because they have several rules and several things that we must take into account. We must not only know the airport rules, but also the airline rules that we will use to travel. Depending on our airline, the rules may change because not all of them are international. Among the most prominent airlines we can find, there is Avianca or Delta, American Airlines, Aeromexico, among others. Within airports, we can identify all the important points that we have discussed throughout our videos. For example, food, clothing, stores, regulations, and many more. Something that I find interesting about airports is that many people don't like them at all. In my opinion, this is due to communication networks, but why? Many times in the news, we find out about not only pleasant things that happen inside airports, there are even television shows dedicated to this. In all these programs or news, the failures of the airports and the dangers that may be in them are shown. This is why when we enter in an airport, we must keep ourselves as calm as possible, not to get offended if we feel that the workers speak to us a little heavy. After all, their job is to keep everyone safe. It is important to recognize that there are cases where airports are not the safest place in the world, but leaving these problems aside, there are many good things within airports, but above all, there are experiences. For example, for people who are going to the airport for the first time, everything seems a bit messy, especially if the airport is very large. This usually happens more than anything in international airports that receive many flights a day, and therefore receive many people a day. Among the things that people tend to highlight about airports are the shops. It is known by many people that airports prices are usually higher than normal. We must think very well if we want to buy some things inside the airports. In my opinion, I feel that it is not a bad idea at all, but we should always consider several options before making any decisions. Relating shopping a bit to airport regulations, I would like to highlight the regulations for the weight of our suitcases. When we travel by plane, we cannot carry many things because we have to carry our suitcases on the plane, and if the plane becomes too heavy, well, we run the risk of a plane crash. This is why many airlines have only two suitcases available per person, one carry-on and one larger. Hand luggage is the luggage that we will take with us everywhere, while the larger suitcases will go separately in another space on the plane. We must always take care of our bags on airplanes and airports, so we don't suffer any accident and we take care of our safety. Our luggage must meet certain weight ranges to be able to enter the plane. If you go beyond these ranges, we run the risk of paying an additional fee to be able to enter our suitcase. However, the idea of traveling by plane, it is not to spend our entire budget at the airport. It is to manage our money in the best way to enjoy our trip. And you know what? Current regulations that some airports have include mandatory COVID-19 testing. As we have said before, airports seek the safety of travelers to keep travelers healthy and satisfied. Many airports are currently asking for COVID-19 testings to enter or exit certain locations. It's a price that we must pay, but in my opinion, it is something fair because we are not only protecting ourselves, but also others. The topic of airports is very expensive. Well, no, extensive, sorry. And I don't have time to talk about them in their entirely. But finally, and the last thing I would like to talk about airports are the passports. In order to enter the airports, it is necessary to have a valid passport. This type of document is necessary to know the places to which people have gone, and there are different passports depending on where people live. Here in Guatemala, our passport is blue, but in Europe, many of the passports are red. And without a valid passport, we will not be able to travel. It is also important to consider that some places need a visa to be able to visit them. This is the case of the United States that requires an American visa so that foreign, like other people can enter the country. Both the passport and the visa are documents that give temporary permits to people so they can enter and they can visit other countries. However, there are people who don't respect this rule at all. But that is another matter and another topic that we will not talk about in this video. But this is the end of this section of the channel. It was a pleasure to give you some information and experiences of the trips and my trips. With this, I say goodbye. I hope to see you again in another occasion. I think it is time for me to continue my own journey and for you to look for a new one. Let's always remember. Let's learn to travel informed. Thank you.